Long ago, before time itself was measured, the twins roamed the sky. One was mortal, restless, curious, bound to earth and its trials. The other was immortal, radiant with wisdom, connected to the stars, to the divine, to the eternal. Together they were Gemini, the celestial embodiment of duality, mortal and immortal, light and shadow, body and soul. This archetype echoes across every culture: Castor and Pollux, Cain and Abel, Enki and Enlil, Osiris and Set, Romulus and Remus, Apollo and Artemis, and the list goes on and on. Duality is woven into human consciousness, mirrored not only with the myth, but symbols, not only in the sky, but in our very soul. In Greek, Pollux and Castor represent mortality and divinity, their bond so strong that Zeus granted them immortality, splitting their time between earth and heaven. They embody the eternal union of opposites, the delicate balance of life and death, shadow and light. In Egypt, Thoth, linked to Gemini through Mercury, carries a similar truth. He is the inventor of hieroglyphs, the master of language and cosmic law. In Greek myth, he becomes Hermes, the trickster and guide, messenger and bridge between worlds. Mercury embodies duality itself, fluid, shifting, bridging the mortal and divine, good and bad, heaven and hell, the left and right sides of our brain. In Hermetic traditions, Hermes Thoth is Trismegistus, the thrice great, master of heaven, earth, and the underworld. He shows that duality is never the final truth. To rise above duality, one becomes thrice born. Enki and Enlil, the Sumerian brothers who represent wisdom and compassion versus authority and judgment, dark versus light. Enki is the Sumerian god of creation, fertility, magic, language, and knowledge. He is clever and inventive, often finding smart solutions and bending the rules when needed. He is compassionate, caring deeply for humanity, and guiding people to survive and grow. He is wise and creative, bringing knowledge, art, and science to humanity after destruction. Enki represents the fluid, adaptable, intuitive, and nurturing side of existence. He embodies qualities like imagination, insight, holistic thinking, and empathy, the traits often associated with the right side of the brain, also known as the divine feminine in a metaphorical sense. His symbols include the serpent, the dragon, and the fish. These symbols represent renewal, transformation, and hidden wisdom. He is humanity's ally, giving warnings and knowledge when danger arises, like during the Great Flood, even if it goes against Enlil's strict laws. Also note how many stories speak of a great flood across time. Enlil is the Sumerian god of air, wind, storms, law, and order. He is powerful and authoritative, enforcing rules and making sure the natural and human worlds follow the proper order. He can be severe and judgmental, bringing consequences, storms, and destruction. Enlil represents structure, discipline, and authority. He embodies qualities often associated with the left side of the brain, or the divine masculine. He symbolizes logic, command, law, judgment, holding the balance of power in the cosmos. While his actions can seem harsh, they maintain order and stability. In the human story, he is the force who creates challenges, testing humanity and ensuring that rules are respected. Together, their tension mirrors mercy and justice, fluidity and rigidity, and the mortal and the immortal. The serpent, sacred to Enki, carries hidden wisdom and transformative knowledge. It resides in darkness, in the underworld, in the hidden chambers beneath pyramids, a symbol of Latin gnosis, of the mercurial principle, of the ascent from shadow into light. In Eden, the serpent offered knowledge. In Mesopotamia, Enki gives insight. In Hermetic thought, the same principle awakens the seeker to hidden truth. Why have modern cultural interpretations equated the serpent with deception, temptation, and sin, creating this modern evil snake image? Well, it represents the awakening of consciousness, the courage to see beyond imposed limitations, and the integration of duality. Fear of the serpent is symbolic of humanity's fear of self-knowledge, intuition, and their own hidden truths. If we look at the story of the Garden of Eden and the serpent through a symbolic lens, we can clearly see the two dualistic natures I have spoken about so far at play. The serpent, Enki, offers truth, the knowledge of good and evil, the awakened humanity to a larger truth. This is the forbidden knowledge. Enlil, as Yahweh, represents the God of law, authority, and order. He is the divine enforcer. His nature is disciplined, commanding, and judgmental, bringing consequences when boundaries are crossed. This is a story that repeats time and time again throughout the entirety of human experience. Together they form the same duality seen in all myth: freedom versus restriction, mercy versus judgment, intuition versus structure. Humanity's awakening depends on navigating and integrating these two forces. Alchemically speaking, Enki the serpent represents freedom, wisdom, and intuition. In alchemy, this is Mercury, fluid, transformative, and able to dissolve old patterns. It opens the mind and reveals hidden truths. Enlil as Yahweh represents structure, law, and discipline. In alchemy, this is like sulfur, stable, solid, and shaping. It provides order, guidance, and limits. Together, they form a dualistic process. Enki dissolves rigid structures, and Enlil shapes and organizes. When these forces are combined, they create an integration of wholeness and the alchemical gold, or thrice-born consciousness, where freedom and order, mercy and judgment, intuition and logic are balanced. The journey through duality, the push and pull of light and shadow, mercy and judgment, freedom and structure, forms the crucible of human experience. Like the alchemy working with mercury and sulfur, we are dissolved and shaped, challenged and guided until the opposites within us merge. From this sacred tension emerges the thrice-born, the awakened consciousness that carries both the mortal and the immortal, the shadow and the light. In this alchemical union, the human spirit is transmuted, revealing that true mastery is not the elimination of contrast, but the integration into a luminous whole. Duality is not a curse, but the necessary fire of the alchemist, in which the soul is refined, giving birth to the completion of human experience, where intuition and reason, law and freedom, and matter and spirit are together as one. The serpent, once feared and demonized, is in truth the guardian of hidden wisdom, the spark that awakens consciousness and challenges the law and authority. We must learn to navigate the experience of freedom and restriction, mercy and law, intuition and reason. This duality is the crucible of human experience, dissolving the ego's rigidity and shaping the soul. In alchemy, the phoenix is a symbol of the final stages of transformation, representing rebirth, purification, and integration. The phoenix unites death and life, shadow and light, mortal and immortal, producing a fully harmonized consciousness. It's the result of Mercury's work, the turning base matter into spiritual gold, the completion of the great work. We must rise alchemically from the ashes of our old patterns, limitations, and illusions, renewed and transmuted. The trials of shadow and light, chaos and order become the fuel for transformation. This is the process of Christ consciousness. This is the magnum opus.